Hello, 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 and welcome, 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 everyone. Okay. Thank you to those of you who are supporting me in my tarot hobby. All right. And, returning. I really appreciate it. All the return subscribers and viewers. And for those of you who are brand new, welcome. Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. Now, I'm going to get right into this because I'm going to try not to have this be long. I'm going to try not to be long-winded. I'm going to try to just stick to this reading and not go off on a tangent. All right. But also remember, hey, you're going to get a little bit of that. All right. Now, let me also say, too, real quick, that sometimes in my videos, when they're longer, I try to shorten them by using this feature in my editing tools, which is cutting out any piece of silence that they detect. Now, when I do that, unfortunately, anytime I say the sound S or other sounds that are like that, it cuts it right off. It makes it sound like I don't know how to speak well. Um, so I hate it. So I really didn't want to use it, but I'm just going to say, let you guys know right here and right now, if you hear that in this video, that's because it was extremely long and I went ahead and used that feature. And so I'm going to sound a little off, but you're still going to get the gist of the video. And if you've noticed that in the past, thank you so much for not pointing it out. My name is Indigosage. Okay, you can find me across social media with the hashtags unapologeticallysage, indigosagetarot, and indigosagereviews. Indigosagereviews is a second YouTube channel that I have where I review the shows. It's only reviews over there. It's pretty nice. Go check it out. And there's no tarot over there. And here is where you will get the tarot and not a review. All right. All right. The people want to know. Okay. Are they, you know what I'm saying? And so that brings me to my next thing to let you guys know is that the first deck is a deck that I have used before. All right. But for those of you who may not have seen that reading, um, it is the Casanova Tarot deck. And there is a little bit of nudity in this deck. All right. So if you don't want to see nudity, then don't look at the section when I get into it. You'll definitely know because I'll announce the deck that I'm using. But anyway, it's not that bad, and everybody here should be an adult. My videos are marked for not for children, adults only, and they are educational, and so look at it that way, okay? But yeah, I use that deck because the people want to know, okay? Okay, now of course I have to do a quick intro to the people, Kyle and Morgan. Who are they? Just in case you clicked on this and you're just here for the tarot aspect because you love tarot just like I do. And I am blessed enough to have your attention. Thank you. And maybe you don't have any idea, about the Real Housewives or, whatever. You're just here for the tarot. So I welcome you. Let me tell you, Kyle of Kyle and Morgan is Kyle Richards. She is on a television reality quote unquote show on the Bravo network called Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She's been married for, I don't know, 1,000 years to a very handsome man named Mauricio. And basically, this storyline for this season has been that her marriage has been rocky and that she has been, before the season even started, it was in magazines and whatever, bloggers and all that kind of stuff, that she was cheating on him with this country music star named Morgan. All right. And this came out of nowhere. Everybody is like, who, like, because I mean, we had heard for years that Mauricio, her husband, had been cheating, but she had been with him and stayed with him, and she never talked about it. So they got 4 beautiful daughters and happy homes all over the world. So, it's like, hey, if you like it, I love it, but not really. But anyway, and then all of a sudden, bing bang boom, here we go. We were hit with headlines of she's not wearing her wedding ring anymore. They're gonna get a divorce. They are separated, which in reality, my understanding is that they are separated right now. But on the show this season, they're not. And we see a lot of flirting and a lot of Morgan. So now you may be wondering, who is Morgan? Now, for those of you wondering who is Morgan, this is Morgan. Morgan is the young lady in the photo to the left with the blue outline. Okay. And she's, like I said, a country music singer. And in a recent episode, she sung a song at Kyle's celebration of life party, because Kyle had a friend who unalived herself, and so it was in celebration of her life. And the choice, now let me say something. The Morgan's voice is not bad. And then some people did ask, was she famous, or did she have accolades basically before Kyle came in her life? The answer is yes. All right. I went and looked at her Instagram, and she has some kind of awards on there and all that kind of stuff. So she's been doing her thing before Kyle, which I would assume that she was, because that's how Kyle found her. She listened to her music. If she hadn't accomplished anything and wasn't, good, then her music probably would not have been readily um, suggested. Like, anyway, let me keep going. So anyway, the song choice that she chose was horrible because it was intimate. It was an intimate sexual song, and I didn't understand how that connected. Now, I have found out, since doing the tarot reading, the prep and everything. I found out later, the prep for this reading. I found out later that apparently someone said, and I think this was somewhere in Reddit, in the Reddit world, so take that for what it's worth. But they said that although that song was inappropriate, that was not the only song that she played. They said that Morgan played several songs, um, and this was the only one that was like that, that is inappropriate. Okay. But they said that Bravo, of course, decided to only air this one. And you know what? I don't believe Reddit 100% at any given time. However, I would not put this past um, Bravo. Would you? Mm. So anyway, her voice is all right, but not necessarily my cup of tea. Um, but let me play a clip from Morgan's Instagram, where she is sitting next to Kyle, and she is explaining how they met. Okay, how they met and why she chose Kyle to star in her music video as her love interest. Okay, let's listen.
I heard Morgan on the radio. You heard Wild? I heard Wilder Days, and then I went to all the others. And I was like, wow, this girl is really blowing me away with her voice and the lyrics. And I looked up on Instagram, and I was like, oh, no, I don't know. I don't have the tattoos and everything. I wasn't expecting all that. I was scared. And so I followed her, and then I kept listening to her music on like repeat. And then she sent me a DM asking me why I was following her.
I just didn't expect someone from Beverly Hills.
Her friends told her who I was.
My friends freaked out. And I was like, oh. Okay.
And then you really wanted to know why I was following you.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys, so I put this clip in real quick to show you guys the stark difference of their body language. Like, yes, we did recently see an episode of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills where Kyle was feeding her cantaloupe and they had good chemistry and it was cute and they were all over each other, and Kyle was looking at Morgan adoringly as she sang. Yes, we did see that. All right. But this, what I'm showing you, is in the beginning of their timeline, okay? And so there's a couple of things I wanted to point out. One of them was the body language, how we can clearly see that both of them like have their legs crossed and arms going in the opposite direction of each other, okay? So there's no cantaloupe feeding here. And then as it progresses, you can kind of see, you can see Kyle lean in like 3 times, several times. Leans in, and Morgan never moves. Morgan never leans in towards Kyle. Kyle does several times. Then I wanted to point out the fact that Morgan did not have a clue, okay, not one clue who Kyle was. And she began to ask about it, or the friends saw, and it was the friends knew who she was. But Morgan, the curiosity came, I believe, and this is just me, she didn't say it in this clip, but because Kyle had a blue check mark. And so she knew that she was somebody, but she had no idea who, and didn't care, wasn't tripping until her friends was excited about it and told her who Kyle was. And then her first contact with Kyle, okay? Now she reached out to Kyle to say, "What? Why are you following me?" Okay, now if that ain't uh that's a shock to me, simply because, not a shock that Morgan didn't know who Kyle was. Everybody ain't got to know who Kyle is, okay? Half the people in my life have no idea who Kyle is. But my point is to be bold enough to say, hey, why are you following me? Like, you some kind of housewife. What you doing following me? You would think that she would just be happy to have anybody following. I mean, that's the reason for you to be on Instagram, is to show pictures and show your life and promote what you got going on and gain followers and this, that, and the other. You know, it's like promotion and you gain followers. That was my understanding of Instagram and the purpose of it. So for her to, it just like, it stuck out to me and it tickled me a bit that Morgan is so in your face kind of person to straight up just ask, hey, you over there, why are you following me? So I wanted to point that out. And then also, last but not least, I wanted to point out a couple of these comments. So the first one is by Morgan, and it says, "Fall in Love with Me" is out as of midnight, and the video drops next week. The internet asked, and Kyle and I delivered. Okay. And then the next one is a husband comment, not a husband commenting, but about her husband. And apparently that psychic was right. Your husband will never emotionally fulfill you. Just saying. And really, it's crazy because where did this person, KLS, something like that, whatever, whoever that is, commenting, where did they get that from watching this clip? Where did they get that from? I didn't get anything about her not being fulfilled from this clip. I mean, look at their body language. All right, and lastly, we have the Nat, which is Teddy, okay? And she says, if you can't beat them, troll them. You ladies look fire. Can't wait for the video, okay? And coming up, we're going to have more context to Teddy's comment. If you can't beat them, troll them, okay? Okay. But up next, I'm going to play another snippet from that clip. All right. And this will explain what made me just sit down and say, you know what? It's time. It's time. Because I went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth on whether or not I wanted to do a reading for Kyle and Morgan, because I don't know, I have to feel moved to do it. And I hadn't felt moved yet. And a couple of things came into play when I was watching that last recent episode, and especially that song being so inappropriate. That did not sit well with me, and so that moved me. And then when I kind of peeked around at Morgan's Instagram, this right here, what I'm getting ready to play, it moved me too. Just listen.
I've done several music videos, and every time there's someone in it with me, they always assume we're dating or we're, something's going on. If you get on the internet, you see people are obsessed with, let's be friends, and while we're friends, and, why I would be friends with you. And,
Excuse me, you didn't want to know why I'm friends with you.
but we thought it would be, kind of a good idea to kind of poke fun at that and kind of troll us a little bit. The internet's gonna be popping off about this one, I'm sure. When you sneeze, there's 45 articles about it. So,
Well, if you're gonna talk, you might as well give me something to talk about. So,
it's entertaining, please.
Okay, so again, this was a snippet taken from Morgan's Instagram page. And if you want to see the whole video, you can go there. But, this is the important stuff anyway. And did you catch at the very end that they said that they're going to give this to the people and at least this is entertaining? And of course, the part that was emphasized that I hope that you guys caught was them saying, let's troll the troll. Okay. So, as I'm going to break this down, basically, we're going to discuss how it started, how, the feelings that were there initially, and what they have become. Okay. Okay. So let's see if this trolling that they say that that's all they're doing, what is it ending with? Because, people sometimes, and now this is the truth, sometimes people can fall accidentally in love. They can. It has happened before. So let's go ahead and dissect this. All right. All right. Sometimes when every single card is in reverse, it can mean that this person is really focused on the inability to be able to read them. Okay, they may be hiding something like their true feelings, or they could have secrets, or they could be lying about something, or faking could be a facade. They could be putting on a show. But whatever it is, they have strong feelings of wanting to hide the truth, wanting no one to discover it. That is one big reason why in a single reading, why every single card may be reversed. All right. I just had to put that out there because that's how I felt when I did this and saw every single card was reversed. It just hit me like, okay, Kyle. What are you hiding? What's going on? I'm just asking a question because the people want to know. So the first one is the past. And of course, the question is how what their connection is. Okay. So let's demystify the mystery between Kyle Richards and Morgan Wade. So the past and also Kyle's feelings. So I asked for the highest message, and it opens the door for either one of their emotions to come through. Kyle's came through the strongest. So this, like, Kyle is like a good 80. Okay, good 80. Good 60, 80. All right. So it's from her point of view. So just assume it's from her point of view, unless I say, otherwise, obviously. So the past came through as Three of Pentacles. All right. And of course, like I said, it was reversed. And with this deck, it has its own guidebook because it's so unique. So some of it I'm going to explain to you guys through the guidebook, and so it's not the traditional. So just walk with me, all right? And hopefully, let me say this too. Hopefully you guys will not be disturbed or upset by it. So let me apologize if you are with all of my explaining, but please understand. Okay, there are people who are listening who are new to this, and so they need the explanation. So just give me some grace on that, please. And then I know that there are some advanced tarot readers who don't need all of this. And I know that because in the past, I've gotten several remarks and comments saying to skip all of this. I talk too much. Don't nobody want all this talking. Well, there are people, I've gotten also on the flip side, people who thank me for all of this explaining. So when you come to my channel, just understand that this is an educational channel and there will be a level of explaining. All right, now let's go. Which is why I have timestamps. All right. Now, here is where, hopefully I remember, this is where I'm going to officially start the reading. All right, Three of Pentacles reversed for the past. And it says to make show of things, to buy but not to conquer. This card refers to Casanova not being adverse to the company of prostitutes. Now, to make show of things is completely obvious when she decided to do that because uh, she starred, in a music video as Morgan's love interest, which is extremely showy, okay? And that's Instagram like times 10 in my opinion. You know, when you sit up here, it's one thing to put stuff on Instagram. It's a whole different ball game to star in a video as her love interest. So to make show of things in the past, yes, she did that. To buy but not to conquer. Well, that is Kyle deciding to do whatever she needs to do to keep Morgan engaged in Kyle's activities. From the mundane to the made for TV functions, Kyle has done enough to command Morgan's presence. Kyle has obviously made Morgan feel like she is her only support system, and those feelings for sure holds some merit. Now, the company of prostitutes is not literal when it comes to Kyle, but what it is suggesting is that Kyle has been pushed so far out of her Mary Poppins box where she pretends everything is perfect to where she has decided that she wants the company of someone who is filling her cup up instead of depleting it. And while she believes that she's not prepared to pay the price regarding her family being a casualty for her decisions, she feels more than confident in her willingness to woo Morgan by any means necessary. So Morgan is not a prostitute, of course, but Kyle is ready to throw anything at Morgan to see what sticks in order for her to play a supporting role in her life. All right, now we are at the present. All right, and the present is represented, and it also came up in reverse. The present is represented by the Five of Cups, and the Five of Cups reversed. Denial of previous choices, retracing one's steps, awareness of a mistake. This card refers to Casanova's relationship with a nun. This card suggests so very much as it relates to Kyle and Morgan, but it made me personally think of Mauricio first and foremost and his relationship with Kyle, because this reading brought forth Kyle's energy a lot stronger than Morgan Wade's, so I can see Kyle wanting Mo, her husband, okay, Mo, to have an epiphany moment where he sees Kyle as the innocent nun that he seduced, but should be grateful to call his wife and should be repenting for his sins against their marriage after his denial forced him to retrace his steps to make him aware of his mistakes. But I digress. Okay, I digress. This card is actually reflecting a little rejection, as Kyle has been the initiator in the connection between her and Morgan. In the image, we can see Morgan pulling Kyle's undergarments up, okay, up. Kyle wants Morgan to be her Casanova, and Kyle views herself as the quote unquote, like, not so innocent nun, okay? Brand new to this, blah, blah, blah. All right. Okay, Kyle. Okay, girl. Continuing. All right, now we are at the future card, which also came up in reverse. And the future card is Two of Cups, and that represents passion, the couple, and seen idolized. Casanova in this card is in the city of birth. Okay, birth in tarot most often refers to the birth of a new idea or a new way of thinking, and the self revelation that comes with a new way of thinking. So, how will this connection materialize in the future? By way of support and solidarity, exchanged from one to the other in a way that fills their cup. Okay? They will continue to fill each other's cup in such a way that becomes more meaningful over time, which of course makes their connection grow stronger and, okay, somebody go get Dorit. And, okay, incomparable. All right. Two of Cups can refer to decisions needing to be made between lovers. In reverse, it points to false love or a misunderstanding. Okay? In reverse, false love or a misunderstanding. Kyle wants the good meaning of this card, but cannot ignore the possibility of the reversal meaning. Get into it, because it's there. Okay, now the energy influence, the energy that influenced all of these cards, okay, is very important because it's like the root of the tree. You can't have a tree without the roots. The energy influence. And I'm not surprised, are you? It is represented by Queen of Swords. And yes, in reverse. This card represents sincerity, removing the mask, facing pain, facing responsibility, wanting to get to the truth. So let's break this down. Wanting to get to the truth. Kyle knows the truth about Mo, but she wants to know the truth about Morgan's intentions before she addresses everyone else, wanting to get to the truth about both Kyle's marriage lows and Morgan highs. Okay? The sincerity and facing pain is accepting the fact that her and Mo's marriage is, in fact, in deep trouble. Okay? Because as we're watching this season, there seems to be a little bit of denial, but then a little bit of her not wanting to say it, but wanting someone else to say it. It's really weird. But overall, once you've accepted it, it doesn't matter who says it. Okay? Let's call a thing a thing. A fact is a fact. And what I love to say, it is what it is. Okay? I will preface it any day and say it is what it is, and what it is. And that's when I'm getting ready to break something down to you really short and quick, because it is what it is. And so she's not accepting that fact yet as we are watching it unfold on our TV screens. Removing the mask and facing responsibility is Kyle being honest with herself about her feelings for Morgan and what she truly wants to come of their connection. And is it sustainable? Will the show destroy it? How would all of this affect her daughters? Okay. This is all going through her mind. This is the energy behind these cards. And so what I can tell you right now, what I believe that we just saw was an innocence, like an innocent admiration from afar until she got to know her. And then I believe a seed was planted where Kyle began to have a girl crush on Morgan. Okay? Now, more on that in just a second. right here, we're in the middle. I'd like to remind you to please click like and subscribe. And I want to thank you for your support, just listening to me, clicking on it and viewing it. I really appreciate it. It means so much to me, okay? Now, here is the Ultimate Clarifiers deck. And what's funny is because I do this like in the background of the reading to kind of set the tone for the reading. It, like I told you guys before, it's my personal deck that I created and channeled the meanings of these cards. I put the images together, put the deck together, and it's 130 cards, and channeled the messages from spirit. And the reason why you guys are not seeing the front of the card is because it'll make no sense to you. It only makes sense to me because it's designed specifically for me, by me. Okay. Let me know, you guys, if you feel like I should have made a part 1 and part 2. All right, but for right now, I am putting it all together. And here we go with the breakdown with the personal clarifying deck. So this card came out in reverse, the first one, and it says, "Do not run, your shadows will follow you." All right, and it came out in reverse, as I said. Now, it goes on to explain, and here's why I thought it was such a good thing to include for you guys, because it talks about your shadow self, and I did use the shadow deck, all right, to get to the nitty gritty of what the heck is going on. And it explains your shadow self are the dark parts of yourself that you project onto others because you don't want to admit they exist, due to the fact that once you admit to them, you must fix or work on them. However, what you neglect to see is that by denying their existence, you can and will only attract people in your life that will illuminate those shadows. That is, until you manage them. But first, you must admit to having them. Otherwise, they will never ever leave you. This card says now more than ever, you must work on your shadow self, whether you feel prepared or not. When this card shows up, chances are that you don't feel prepared to take a deep dive into yourself. Your guardian angels are pushing you to find your support system. Oh, if that don't feel like that's exactly what was going on in her life, okay? And her shadow self is exactly that. Exactly what I just said. The things that she needs to fix that she may be denying, but now is the time to jump in and fix them. And you need to find your support system. Well, it looks like she has went ahead and accepted that she needs to fix some things. She stopped drinking, she's exercising, she's wanting to be healthier. So she is fixing herself. And the support system, and this was something that was kind of nagging in the back of each card that I looked at, that she views Morgan probably, you know what I'm going to say? And I don't know if she has said this anywhere because I haven't heard her say this, but this is what I'm picking up. She probably feels like not only did Morgan enter her life and change her life, Kyle would be dramatic enough to probably say Morgan has saved her life. Okay? I imagine she'd say that. And then the next card was about what you teach your children and what you leave with, like the legacy that you'll leave with your children, and give roots to your children. So clearly she's worried about her children. Then the next card was about being a superwoman by working hard at your career and being able to balance the career and the motherhood successfully. Okay, so that's important to her. And this also is what was letting me know that Kyle was having a strong energy in this reading. It was about Kyle because, as I understand it, Morgan is not a mom, and so like all of this children and things, that's Kyle. So then the fourth card that came out, it says you are this person's preferred taste, all right? And this is a card that says that this person is keeping their admiration of you a secret, or vice versa. The bottom line to this card is there's a person that's preferred over anyone else. If you are in a relationship, this card could mean one of you admires the qualities of someone else over your partner. It does not equate cheating. It simply means the partner may wish the other person had those qualities as well. And I was like, boom, boom, there you go. There you go. I can clearly see that in Kyle, and I think that's what we're seeing when Kyle looks longingly at Morgan, and when they play around and laugh together, she is actually wishing that was Mo. And maybe her and Mauricio used to be that way and they're not anymore, but that is an element of her life that she wishes she had with Mo. And yes, Dorita's her friend, but they're not friends like that. Okay, which we all know that they're not friends like that. Then the other card, and that one was upright. Let me point out the other card was reversed. The card that came after that one, and it says, "The time has come to look out of the window and see the world the way it truly is." All right. Stop making excuses for shit that is just plain shit. And it says other things, but for, time, for the interest of time, I just gave you guys the most important thing, which was stop making excuses for shit that's just plain shit. And like I said, this card was in reverse. This is something that she has been denying or is denying or doesn't want us to know because we nosy. Um, but I'm sure they are having some really interesting conversations in the background, her and Mauricio. And we know this because they're currently separated. In the show, they're not separated. In the current times, they are. So at some point, she did decide to stop making excuses for shit that's just plain shit. Now, lastly, that was the last card, but I like to look at the energy, okay? The energy that drove those cards out. Y'all never believe this, okay? It's a card that, and it was in reverse too, which I think these are just secrets or were either denial or secrets, okay? But it's reversed too. And it says, I plan on buying a lot more of this. And then there's an image of a huge diamond, okay? And it explains this person plans to spend money, but whose and how is directly related to the situation. We all know by now that Kyle has confessed to buying herself a lot of jewelry right now, more than usual. And I believe that shopping is therapy for Kyle. Okay. I believe that that's the reason why that came up. It wasn't something where she was flossing or, trying to be showy or anything like that. I think spending money shopping makes her feel better. And these cards are showing that not only did she have a lack of support, but she was looking for a support system and needing a support system, because also it's showing that she kind of got lost in the superwoman trope. I can have this career, I can be a great wife, I can be a fantastic mother, I'm perfect, I'm that nun, I can do everything, you know. And let me tell you something. And then she leaned on shopping as therapy because she was holding all of it in, that she was beginning to crack. That no, she can't be perfect, she can't be silent, she does have feelings, she is a real person, she does need a support system. And here's the thing: when you go out into the world and you are received and viewed and looked upon and being depended on as the quote unquote strong one, because I'm included in that, what we've all unfortunately found out the hard way is that because you're so viewed as being the strong person, um, it's going to be hard for you to find a support system because you are also viewed as the support system for everyone else. So no one, it's like if a life jacket, no one is thinking that a life jacket needs a life jacket. That doesn't make any sense. Okay? So no one's thinking that the strong person needs a strong person. You are the strong person. No one's thinking that a security guard needs security. Okay? You get where I'm going? And So what we have to learn as, people of being the strong person is that sometimes we do have to let people in, and we do have to remind people that we are human and we have feelings too. Because also you'll find too, people don't care about hurting your feelings because they feel like they can say anything to you and about you to you because they don't view you as having feelings. Okay? Okay. Because I'm in that club of being viewed as a strong person. I've had to remind people with some of the things that they say, hey, you hurt my feelings when you said that or when you did that. That hurt my feelings. And the look in their eyes, you guys, they genuinely didn't realize that the feelings that I do have could be hurt. They genuinely look surprised and regretful, you know? So that's what I got from that. And she found support unlike anything that she was getting currently. She found that in Morgan Wade. Okay? Okay. Now, what did Morgan Wade find in Kyle? Let's keep going. Now, this is a deck that it's called like Love Oracle, and it is to be used as a complementing deck. So when you've already done your spread, pull this, to complement the other cards. And looky what we had. And this card too was in reverse. And it says addiction. All right. And it goes on to say codependent, obsession, possession, controlling, has a block, and restraint. All right. I feel like Morgan Wade, what she's getting out of it is also support from Kyle. And I feel like they have a codependent relationship. I really do. Because Morgan Wade has apparently spoken out about being dependent on the drugs. Now, I didn't hear it myself. She didn't tell me, and I didn't watch an interview with her, but a few people have said that they've watched something or read something where she's openly talks about it. And we do know that, and I don't know, she could have said it on the show. Okay, shame on me. But I know that she has talked about being sober on the show, but sober doesn't, sober, there's a range of things. So my point is that I believe that she's getting support, and I think it's a codependent relationship. Like, um, anyway, I'm not gonna go in deeper. I'm already in this reading very, very long, but I believe that's what she's getting out of it. And also, I'm not seeing in this reading where she is wanting exactly what Kyle is wanting. And quite frankly, I don't think Kyle wants to go the distance with Morgan. I believe Morgan is beyond a simple crush, meaning I believe that Morgan could be Kyle's one of her soulmates. We all have soulmates here. We have more than one, and they come in different forms. Meaning that, now I ain't talking about a tree or a flower, okay? Don't get silly on me. Do not get silly on me. But what I mean when I say that is it could be a relative, a man, a woman. Some people have said it could be in the form of your pet. But what I'm saying is we have for sure more than one, and we for sure do have soulmates. And I believe that's more of where their connection is. And it is very common that when you encounter one of your soulmates, at some point you may look at, if it's not a relative, okay? Let me say that. If they are not related to you, and if they are not an animal, let me be very clear. But other than that, outside of that, It's very common for soulmates, once they connect, they're so enamored with each other and it's so refreshing, and they just have some type of, like, they click and have like a friendship where they feel like they've known each other all their life, even though they could have just met 5 minutes ago. It's very common with those kind of connections that a romantic relationship is brought up at least once and talked about, if not explored, but at least talked about, and either talked about and dismissed or talked about and explored. But either way, a lot of times those connections can stay, even if they do explore it and decide no, they still remain friends because it's a friendship connection unlike any other. Okay? All right. Now, last but not least, we are going to look at the shadow card, okay? The shadow deck, which reveals her shadow self. All right, let's go. All right, my sages. So this is the last card, and it is from one of my favorite decks. It is where I talk about their shadow self. I only bring this out when I really want to get down to the bottom of why someone is acting the way they are acting. Okay. And it's so unique that I read directly from the guide book. Okay. Okay. Now, it starts out with, so it is hiding your true self, which as soon as I saw it, like, this deck has never, ever, ever, ever failed me. Even when I use it for private readings for people, it's always 100% spot on, and it is just another deeper layer of what's really going on and what a person really needs to work on that they are in denial about, because it is the shadow self, okay? Hiding your true self. This stage for this card is acceptance. Hiding is keeping things inside. Lack of trust becomes lack of hope. Therefore, a limit is a must. Hiding is a survival instinct. Do you want to be honest and truly be yourself? Very few people will accept you then. You are too complicated to be comfortable, too contradictory to be easy, too exceptional to be believed, too plain to be considered. Sometimes real solitude is when there is not a right moment to be yourself. Being yourself is a purification process that brings in oxygen to your soul. It is bliss and pleasure. That's what they had to say as far as it relates to her shadow self. So, she's hiding her true self. She's hiding her true self. And I don't think her true self, you know what? I don't know why I'm led to say this. I don't think her true self is a lesbian. I really don't. I don't feel that way. And Morgan Wade is not in love with her, and Kyle is not in love with Morgan Wade. Kyle is in love with the idea of Morgan Wade, okay? And they have a codependency relationship. And don't get it twisted. Morgan Wade, even though she was known before Kyle, she understands the the glow up that she's getting, and that, she would get being connected to her. So don't get it twisted. She knows what she is getting from all of this. Um, but Kyle not being her true self, we saw an example of that, as a matter of fact, in the last episode when she talked about how this LA life is not what makes her happy. It's not her. She truly would be happier in Aspen, okay, away from the city. That's a peak of her trying to be her true self. That's She's not being her true self, and it looks like she's getting tired of it, getting sick and tired of it. Okay? Okay. Now, one last thing. All right, you guys, I just wanted to thank you. All right. I didn't want you guys to click off yet until I had a chance to thank you for your support. Once again, it means everything to me. Please don't forget to click like and subscribe. Of course, it helps me get into the algorithm, and I'll be bringing you guys so much more. Now, what I used to do all the time, every single reading, I used to always have a quote or a poem. And, since I've been trying to get these out quicker and make them shorter, it's hit or miss for me. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't, but I was led to do it for this one. Okay? And this quote is: acting is behaving truthfully under imaginary circumstances. I thought that was very fitting. Okay? I thought that was very fitting. Acting is behaving truthfully under imaginary circumstances. Yeah. And we all know that Kyla's an actress. Okay? So anyway, as I've said, thank you so much for your support, for listening, hanging in there. I don't know how long this is going to be. I don't know how much I'm going to cut out, but either way, if you've made it to the end, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Enjoy your week. Be safe, okay? And stay calm. All right. So anyway, like I said, go out, be safe. I don't know who may have needed to hear that, but I was led to say it. We're all going to be all right, and stay calm. Bye.